I go pick up the trash from the mailbox. I went and yeah, the stuff I go through the mail and I throw out all the political junk mail that just asks for money all the time and never really gives them nothing back, except for maybe things that say, you know, Ralph Earl Parsons Sr. and his address, and they can put them on an envelope, so, so they can send him. He can send them more money without having to write it down on an envelope. And so, all the ones that are pertinent to his finances, like El Paso Electric, Zia Gas, county commissioner, the DMV type stuff, that type of stuff I'd take in, if it's, they had the census, I brought that, the little official ones and all that, right? I always take all that stuff in for him. And then the real mail, like his letter joy he gets from Julie that he likes so much, and cards and letters from family. I always tell him that, you got real mail. you got mail. And then I go pick up the trash. And then I went, and this one from, I think it's the Heritage Foundation, they asked for all kinds of money from him, has a big orange thing on the back. It says, warning, if you interfere with the distribution of this mail, is a $2,000 fine and 5-year apprentices or both. So I set it on his table with the warning face up. Tad will figure it out. Yeah, look at it and go. And then he'll look at him and go, that's rotten little scoundrels. He'll probably throw it in the trash. So, my dad's smart. He raised me. Yeah, but I'm like, God, those people are, they must have a YouTube account. I go down and pick up the trash. Warning, warning. Danger, Will Robinson. All right, so yeah, these people, man, they be crazy. You're watching the stuff, it's all over the thing, Trump announces that he killed a mass murderer for a CIA-appointed mass murderer. Okay. You do know you're a CIA-appointed mass murderer, too? Okay. And these people, these Iranian Houston family, they're happy. Okay, a mass murderer murders another mass murderer, and you're supposed to be Muslims, and they're supposed to be Christians, and none of us want to live the Lord's Prayer. But they're smiling and they're happy. It's like, wasn't it just like 6 months ago where he worked out a peace accord in the Middle East and wanted to get a Nobel Prize, and then he goes and drops a bomb on another CIA-appointed mass murderer, and a lot of people are smiling, happy. It's great. He killed the mass murderer. So, okay, are they living the Lord's Prayer in Iran? Are they doing it in the United States? So why would Christians and Muslims be happy because that man had a bomb dropped on him? It doesn't make it defies all logic and reason. It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, right? And so it's pretty disgusting. It's very disgusting, to get excited about mass murderers murdering each other, to manipulate you with money, and you're supposed to be Christians and Muslims, but none of you will stand up and recognize, the YouTube account where the man walks down to the mailbox to pick up the trash. I live in the Lord's Prayer. No. What's your heritage? What's your foundation all about? What's your heritage? Should your heritage be based on the commands of Jesus Christ? Don't you think that would be the best heritage, Forgive debt and trespass, love one eternal faithful peace. For God is the power and the glory forever and ever, amen. And the Father that teaches us this faith saves our children from being murdered by mass murderers. Hi, I correct quantum computing and artificial general intelligence and stuff here. I am the living correction. 22nd redeemer there. Yeah, nice shot, buddy. Yeah, but it's not. It's a little too much, too little, too late. That was a foul on. It was an offensive foul. Yeah, you pushed him down, bro. It's not like it really matters, because even if they hit a 3-pointer here, there's only 2.9 seconds left, and it's 70. That make it 79 to 81, and so it ain't gonna really matter. I'm watching Liberty and Jack State because they in our conference. They in the Conference USA for the Aggies and the Miners there. So now it's academic. It's 81 to 78. So if they hadn't lost those 2 games, though, they might have had a chance to probably get an art-large bid if they don't win the conference tournament. But they should probably win the conference tournament. We'll see. Okay. Is this Jerry Falwell University? Is that Liberty? Is that Jerry Falwell and the moral majority or whatever his name was? Is that's the establishment of that institution of that economic training institution, like Texas Christian, Southern Methodist, University of Houston, public, private, um, public, public separation of church and states. They don't claim to be Christians, so they don't feel they're held accountable to those lofty standards of forgive debt and trespass one another, eternal faithful peace. They'll just point the robots at you. You know, all the colleges that say they believe in peace, but murder each other over money. See, at public universities, hey man, we just let them all kill each other. You know, it's a lot like, sitting back and watching them all kill each other, and then you get in and get to be a number one, top of the heap, right? These little town blues are drifting away. Got to be a part of it in old New York. If I can make it there, I'll make it anywhere. It's up to you, New York. New York, dum bum ba da dum bum bum. Hey, is that the Empire State Building? Hey, it's Godzilla. No, it's King Kong. No, it's Godzilla. How'd Godzilla climb up there? He ain't got them gorilla hands to climb up that building. Godzilla just knock it down, tear it down, start over again. I like Ted Mills and Blue Magic too. Yeah. Blue Magic on Flash Gordon. No, that lady's a bitch, man. She crazy. She's the witch, Marima Voodoo. She'll put a spell on you. She's a witch queen of New Orleans, right? Or looks like they're playing at Portland. It's the Portland Pilots versus the Gonzaga Bulldogs in ladies basketball on TV. I think these are both Jesuit schools. Are there Franciscan schools in California? Which ones are Franciscan schools and which ones are Jesuit schools? Is University of San Francisco a Jesuit or Franciscan school? I know there are Franciscans in California for a long time. The ones up in the Northwest are Jesuit schools, right? Just like Father Kino in Tucson, he was a Jesuit, right? And the Jesuits were the ones that were a little bit more, quote unquote, militant, and went through and protected people, with arms and stuff. And the Franciscans were more the, little brown. Jesuits wore black and the Franciscans wore brown. Like San Diego Padres. Okay. Brown, right? Okay. So San Diego must be a Franciscan region, right? Yeah, because you had Zorro and he had a Franciscan priest and he was the monk with the out of the night when the full moon is bright. People have had a knowledge and a history like a tree without root. Oh, dead inside and fall for anything. Yes, we need more money. Oh, the Lord's Prayer is just a limerick. Yeah, that's a little batshit crazy. It's more than a little batshit crazy. It's a lot of batshit crazy. Okay, so what are we doing here? I don't know. I'm getting little shitheads mean mugging me on YouTube. And we'll send you to prison for 5 years and find you $2,000 if we don't get more money out of your dad. Okay, you can ask him for more money, but I think when he reads that, he's probably going to throw it in the trash. Okay. He's going to look at it and say, how Orwellian of you. Yeah, so fronting, huh? They always be fronting, man. People, all they do is front and lie. They like Jay from the Fugees album and shit. So, because I know. Why didn't he let the little girl stay in a little bit longer? Let the little girl dance. She was a senior and he put her in for the opening tip and then they took her out and everybody's doing the little ceremonial protocols and stuff. And he took her out. Yeah. They're 16-3. It's not like they're going to win the conference title if she stays in for a little while. Let the little girl dance. Let the little girl dance. I don't understand Papa's circumstance or ceremony. It don't make no sense to me. No. Let's get out there and have some fun. Especially somebody who worked their ass off for 4 years for you to pay your bills when money's not real and you should be standing up for the Lord's Prayer. Seriously. Oh my gosh, people are crazy. I always have to talk sense into them, but they never want to listen. I mean, I could understand it if it was... St. Mary's versus Gonzaga right now, and they did that, and they said, well, one of us really got to win this game because it's really, and then she's going, maybe in a good payment, let Petey start, coach, because he's a better quarterback than I am. Remember the Titans, right? Remember that? Okay. So, hey, Petey is now a heart surgeon or whatever on Scrubs, right? Remember Petey? Okay. Donald Faison, right? Is that? Yeah. But in real life, the guy Petey whatever went to Vietnam, I think they said, and died in Vietnam. The guy who played cornerback for that state championship team, they did the little things on the Sunshine. Went and played a quarterback at South Carolina, University of South Carolina. I think that's what they said. So Gary Peter got in a car accident and then died later from complications from the car accident. And Julius went and played college ball. I can't remember where. It's been a long time since I've seen the movie. Yeah. That's what they said. You know how they give you a little bio at the end, like that. Where they are now. Jibble Bobble Dooblestobbin is now 63 years old. Lives in Santa Monica, California. Is now a brain surgeon, right? Got their degree from Stanford. Started out as a child actor, right? Now developed a career in Okay, let's stop developing careers and stop being brain surgeons. Just forgive debt, trespass, love one, eternal, faithful peace. I'm certain, as the curtain and the curtains, the zamp and the lamp and the Nella and Della and the bellers and the toothbrush and the toothbrush, there'll be less necessity for brain surgery when you guys aren't driving around in cars, killing each other with wars for money to feel powerful with science equipment. Shit. Guys, how much money since Hiroshima and Nagasaki have we raised to cure cancer? It's not. It's just to feed the industry that is a genocidal industry to manage population numbers through economic conflict till we could get to full-blown cloning and full-blown robotics, and then, you know what I'm saying, and then decrease the surplus population through voluntary genocide. That's insane. Or voluntary suicide because it's painless, right? No. Well, a lot of insurance policies won't cash in if the person commits suicide. So you got to have that clause in your thing. Is it a Santa Claus? Does that make you the big guy now? Did he fall off the roof? Do you think Santa Claus in the first Santa Claus movie committed suicide by falling off the roof? Think he was sick of Mrs. Claus? Think she's a real naggy bitch? Think she's loved me till the end of time? He said, yeah, now I'm praying for the end of time. Think it was like a Dim Steinem song? Think he did it on purpose? I'll just jump. You're kidding. They're not living the Lord's Prayer. She's probably a narcissistic bitch who has to have all the right stuff. I want furs, I want this and that and that. They don't live at the North Pole. No, if they live anywhere, it's on the other side of the North Pole up in Russia. And like Siberia or something. Yeah. Why they would live there, I don't know. It's just crazy. But, all fantasies insane. Yeah, it is. Well, because fantasy is wanting a solution to a problem that's a perpetual problem that's not a solution to the problem because it's not based on reality. Okay? Fantasy means the plane. Okay, Mr. Work. We're flying people in to fulfill their fantasies and things that are not real because it's all manipulated by money and... Okay, it's crazy. People are crazy. And beer's not good. No, Jack Piss, it's terrible. Root beer is good. With vanilla ice cream, yes. But don't dance around on a multi-millionaires or billionaires commercial selling it when you should be a Christian and stand up for living the Lord's Prayer so we can all enjoy root beer floats without being extorted and exploited by assholes. Let the little Earl dance. Earl rhymes with girl. Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing. I'm sitting there going, yeah, I had this thing for 2 years. Mom always said that to me, though. She said I got lost on the way to New York, that I was like from a it's a very because I'm very expressive and I talk a lot and I'm very affectionate. Okay, and I ended up in a German type family. Don't touch me, don't talk to me, shut up, don't do that. Come on, I'm one of those type of people. Come on, everybody, get up and dance and let's do this and let's joke, let's have a good time, Let's talk about, poems and prayers and promises, how good it is to love someone, how right it is to care, how long it's been since yesterday. What about tomorrow? What about our dream? I don't like talking about superficial frivolity. I don't like talking about making money. I don't like to be involved in schemes to make money. I don't like pyramid schemes. I just say, hey, it's going to be great when we're all living the Lord's Prayer. Now let's dance and let's sing. I want to dance. Yeah, I'm one of those type of people, They tried to rot my balls off and everything. It's too excruciating and painful for me to dance too long. Well, that's what happens when you have business partners who are complete assholes and completely ignore the Messiah anonymously and act like he doesn't exist. It's hard being gorgeous in the 21st century. In the 20th century, nobody even knew I existed. They just watched everybody abuse me and said, there's something wrong with this guy. He's a total wimp and a putz. He lets everybody walk all over him. It's like, no, you just can't rock the boat, because every time I tried to do something to stop it, the authorities came in and let the women fuck me more. So I just sat back and said, well, I'll find a way to get through this. Someday it will all make sense. Someday someone beautiful will step up so the innocent won't be abused by the guilty. And then when I went to Sierra Vista, it's like, damn, it's me. Well, Jesus always told me that. Yeah, he told me that at Casa Mia, when that lady was abusing and ripping off all the Mexican immigrants and doing it to all of us if she could trick us into it. And then I sat there and I was like, man, she was going to get an extra month's rent out of me because she didn't have me write a receipt, because, and that's when Kenyuki told me, I had to write me a sheet and I had a thing for it because I had the check that I wrote. And she said that was for this. I was like, no, it wasn't. It's like that little rotten bitch. So I was going to move out. I was like, man, I told Jesus, I said, somebody's got to do something about this. This woman is criminal and she's horrible. The next day, the management had a sign on, left a letter on my door saying, Earl, you're an ex-vet and a college student and work at a Fortune 500 company. Would you like to be the on-site manager? We need somebody responsible to be the on-site manager. They want Bob to do it because they thought that Bob would drive everybody crazy. And so they got me to do it, and which was a good deal because Bob wouldn't have been able to deal with the meth guy that moved into my apartment and get him out. And I said no. And Bob would have drove John crazy, and John would have drove Bob crazy. John was just it was hilarious. In the empty apartments, I would come up and him and his buddy would be up there. What are you doing? We're waiting on parts. And they would be playing the race car games on PlayStation on a TV up in the apartment. It was funny. I'd go, what are you guys doing? Well, we have to wait on the part and there's nothing really to do. They had all their stuff caught up. So they'd be in there. What do you do? They were playing PlayStation. That would have drove Bob crazy. Well, wait, you're on the job? Yeah, but we have to wait. If you go home, you don't get paid. They're not sucking from out of the company. They're just doing their job. I was in the military too. I just laughed. I was like, you guys, what are you doing? This is it was like Grand Prix Auto. It was funny. They were playing these games. Those are pretty good graphics. Oh, that's right before I got my PlayStation. I started playing football and basketball on it. Yeah. What did I have? I had of course I had EA Sports NCAA football, and I had the one I liked better was Game Breaker with Oh Nelly with Keith Jackson. That was my favorite. Yeah, it was the Game Breaker. I liked the gameplay and the Game Breakers was better when they first came out. EA Sports' guys were moved kind of stiff and were kind of blocky looking. And Game Breakers, they had a little bit more texture to them where they looked more muscly and stuff. And they moved smoother. You could run with them and pass with them and catch with them smooth. So, Game Breaker in the first installments of college football games, Game Breakers was a little bit better than EA Sports. And then when it went from PlayStation to PlayStation 2, Game Breaker they didn't keep up. Theirs wasn't very good, and EA's has gotten much better, So the only thing I was freaked out about it was 2002. We had a generic stadium in Las Cruces. It looked like older, almost a little bit like older Aggie Memorial Stadium, the one they tore down. But the thing was too is it was like they had aliens on there because the quarterback, they would do this thing with their neck, and it's like it was a glitch in the thing, and the neck would go huddle and stuff. That was the only thing that was kind of weird about it, but that wasn't during the gameplay. Gameplay was pretty good, and then they fixed that by 2003 and had our stadium. and everything. So yeah, 2003. In 2002, they didn't have. I think they had created team. No, I don't know if they did. I think in 2002 it was just all the college teams. I think in 2003 was when they incorporated the FCS teams and the created teams, which is cool because then I got NAU and I was excited about that. I liked having NAU. So, and he even had the dialogue with Lee Corso and the Lumberjacks. I'm picking and he put a helmet on, you know. And even with the Grizzlies, he'd put Monty's head on. Yeah. Monty, yeah, the Grizz. That's the name of the mascot for University of Montana. Monty, Montana. All right. Yeah, he put his head on. He has like a little American flag bandana around his head with Grizz jersey. All right. So, man, I've been to Portland. When was I in Portland? I was in Portland in 80. Yeah, we went to go see Tarji and friends play the xylophone. It was terrible. Dad was pissed and Mom goes, you could feel it all through the room. I was like, we don't blame him, Mom. If we're going to go to Portland, we should have gone to a Blazers Sonics game or something. Even Val and Fontra are like, yeah. They would have much better tolerated going to a Blazers Sonic game than going to Dargy and friends. And like Dad said, Gross would sit there and glare at the other musicians because he sucked. He sucked and he was almost like, doing, doing, doing. And he was terrible. And then he'd glare at the other musicians and the other musicians were better than he was. It was atrocious. Dad was like, we spent how much money to come all the way down and see this shit? Get a hotel room? I mean, if we're going to spend the money, we might as well go to a pro basketball game. He liked going to the pro basketball games. Yeah, he liked going to the Clippers Sonics game. He liked going to the Blazers Sonics game. I didn't blame him. We all liked it. We went to Blazers Sonics game at Frail Court in Pullman. And at the old Coliseum, we went to the Clippers Sonics. Gus was fishing in Montana. Yeah, he was holding out. Yeah. I didn't get to see Gus. I saw Gus. Did I see Gus the next year? I don't know. Or did they have, I think they were supposed to have Westfall, Gus. I don't remember. Maybe I did. I remember Vinnie Johnson and James Bailey. Was Gus there? James Donaldson. And stuff. I was excited because the whatchamacallits, the Blazers had Bruce Collins, and Bruce Collins was from Weber State, which I liked, and he was also from Rock Springs, Wyoming, which was before we lived in Wyoming. Yeah, but he was from the West. He was just from a small town in the West. Bruce Collins. He was a really good ball player. He was. Yeah, he. I don't really think he made the final roster. I think he went and he played in Europe, but he was a very good basketball player. Yeah. He was one of my favorite college basketball players. Him and Don Collins. Yeah. And then not related. Well, you know what I mean. Not related, like, and direct family and stuff like that. Yeah, Don Collins was one of my favorites too. He had a decent NBA career, and then the coaches labeled him as kind of an attitude problem and stuff because he played for some kind of jerky coaches. UB Brown and some others, and they were a real pain in the ass. He went to Europe and did real well. I think he played in Israel. I think he did too. Okay, guys, I love you very much. I'm working on this. I know how horrible and pathetic they are, and I know how much they study me and see where I'm at psychologically and try to manipulate me psychologically to get the technology to keep getting mass murderers to be able to murder mass murderers with, they're crazy. I don't worry about, like I told you guys the other night, I don't worry about living it, or I just focus on people being good. Life's eternal, grace is infinite, and focus them on, survive, stop, eliminate abuse, and recover. And, every time, they beat you down, just, okay, I'm going to get through this. I'm going to heal. I want to be present when we're using this technology to share the perfection of the Lord's Prayer worldwide. You just have to, you have to feel that way. Your life is your God-given right. And if you feel, I want to be alive and feel that day. And this is like Luther Vandross and Cheryl, if only for one night, if this world were mine. Well, that's Cheryl, and that's the one, if this world were mine. If only for one night, that's just Luther, right? Okay. So, okay, guys, I love you very much. I would like to tell you to stop being a bunch of selfish, dumb jerks, but I've been doing that for, well, you know. It's like the whole thing with Aggie fans and football. But you going to go watch the Aggies lose again this year? Been doing it for 40 years. Why stop now? There you go. Okay. So when something's right, keep doing it. When something's wrong, stop doing it, So debt and trespass, perversion and mass murder through debt and trespass, there's delusions of human power and authority. It's wrong. Quit doing it. Stand up for a Lord's Prayer so we can all live world peace of the perfection of the Gospels. It's right. So always, if not by the stroke of midnight, by breakfast, Always think that way. Always think we're another step closer to heaven, not another day wasted in hell. Life's eternal and grace is infinite. Okay? And the spirit and the soul transcends the delusions of the manipulative flesh that wants to put their brain on a freaking motoring robot because they want to clone themselves because they think they're better than everybody else because they suck. Okay? When you're living the Lord's Prayer, you can all be equally as good and faithful. If you're denied the Lord's Prayer, you're all stuck in hell no matter how beautiful you are. I'm gorgeous. Okay? I love you guys. All right. Peace.